Chapter 10, Ex Paris, Ex Homo by Victor Hugo from the book Les Miserables. To sum it all up once more, the Paris gamin of today, like the Akulus of Rome in days gone by, is the infant populace with the wrinkle of the old world on his brow. The gamin is a grace to the nation and at the same time a disease which must be cured how? By light. Light renders healthy. Light kindles. All generous social irradiations spring from science, letters, arts, education. Make men, give them light that they may warm you. Sooner or later, the splendid question of universal education will present itself with the irresistible authority of the absolute truth. And then, those who govern under the superintendence of the French idea will have to make this choice: the children of France or the gamins of Paris, flames in the light or will-o'-the-wisps in the gloom. The gamin expresses Paris, and Paris expresses the world. For Paris is a total. Paris is the ceiling of the human race. The whole of this prodigious city is a foreshortening of dead manners and living manners. He who sees Paris thinks he sees the bottom of all history with heaven and constellations in the intervals. Paris has a capital, the town hall, a Parthenon, Notre Dame, a Mount Aventine, the Faubourg Saint-Antoine, an Acenarium, the Sorbonne, a Pantheon, the Pantheon, a Via Sacra, the Boulevard des Italiens, a temple of the winds, opinion, and it replaces the Gemoni by ridicule. Its Majo is called Farad, its Transteverin is the man of the faubourgs, its Hamel is the market porter, its Lazarone is the pegger, its Cockney is the native of Ghent. Everything that exists elsewhere exists at Paris. The fishwoman of Dumarsais can retort on the herb seller of Euripides. The Discabals Veganus lives again in the Forioso, the tightrope dancer. Therapontigonus Miles could walk arm in arm with Vaidbancoa the grenadier. Damasippus, the second-hand dealer, would be happy among bric-a-brac merchants. Vincennes could grasp Socrates in its fist, as just as Agora could imprison Diderot. Grimaud de la Reynière discovered larded roast beef. As Curtilus invented roast hedgehog, we see the trapeze, which figures in Plautus, reappear under the vault of the Ark of Eletel. The sword-eater of Posilus encountered by Apuleius is a sword-swallower on the Pont Neuf. The nephew of Rameau and Cuculio the parasite make a pair. Ergocillus could get himself presented to Cambyses by Degrafeuil. The four dandies of Rome, Alcesimarchus, Phodramus, Diabolus, and Argyrippus, descend from Cortil in Labatut's posting chaise. Aulus Gellius would halt no longer in front of Congrio than would Charles Nodier in front of Punchinello. Mardo is not a tigress, but Pardalisca was not a dragon. Pantalabus the wag jeers in the Café Anglais at Nomentanus the fast liver. Hermogenes is a tenor in the Champs-Élysées, and round him, Thracius the beggar, clad like Bobach, takes up a collection. The boor who stops you by the button of your coat in the Tuileries makes you repeat. After a lapse of 2,000 years, Thesprian's apostrophe, quis properentum me prehendit Palio. The wine on Suren is a parody of the wine of Alba. The red border of Desogers forms a balance to the great cutting of Balatro. Pere Lachaise exhales beneath nocturnal rains the same gleams as the Esquilier, and the grave of the poor bought for 5 years is certainly the equivalent of the slave's hived coffin. Seek something that Paris has not. The vat of Trophonius contains nothing that is not in Mesmer's tub. Ergophilas lives again in Cagliostro. The Brahmin Vasiphanta become incarnate in the Comte de Saint-Germain. The cemetery of Saint Médard works quite as good miracles as the mosque of Aumaumier at Damascus. Paris has an Aesop Mayu and a Canidia Mademoiselle Lenormand. It is terrified, like Delphos at the fulgurating realities of the vision. It makes tables turn as Dodona did tripods. It places the grisette on the throne, as Rome placed the courtesan there, and taking it altogether, if Louis XV is worse than Claudian, Madame du Barry is better than Messalina. Paris combines in an unprecedented type, which has existed and which we have elbowed, Grecian nudity, the Hebraic ulcer, and the Gascon pun. It mingles Diogenes, Job, and Jack Pudding, dresses up a spectre in old numbers of the Constitutional, and makes Chodruck Duclos. Although Plutarch says, the tyrant never grows old, Rome, under Sylla as under Domitian, resigned itself and willingly put water in its wine. The Tiber was a Lethe, if the rather doctrinary eulogium made of it by Verus Vibiscus is to be credited. Contra Gracchos Tiberum habemus, by Ber Tiberum, id est seditionum obliviscae. Paris drinks 1,000,000 liters of water a day, but that does not prevent it from occasionally beating the general alarm and ringing the tocsin. With that exception, Paris is amiable. It accepts everything royally. It is not too particular about its Venus. Its callipyge is Hottentot, provided that it is made to laugh. It condones. Ugliness cheers it. Deformity provokes it to laughter. Vice diverts it. Be eccentric and you may be an eccentric. Even hypocrisy, that supreme cynicism, does not disgust it. It is so literary that it does not hold its nose before Basil, and is no more scandalized by the prayer of Tartuffe than Horace was repelled by the hiccup of Priapus. No trait of the universal face is lacking in the profile of Paris. The Bal Mabel is not the Polymnia dance of the Janiculum, but the dealer in ladies, wearing apparel, there devours the lorette with her eyes, exactly as the Procurus Staphyla lay in wait for the virgin Planesium. The Barrière du Combat is not the Colosseum, but people are as ferocious there as though CSR were looking on. The Syrian hostess has more grace than Mother Saked, but if Virgil haunted the Roman wine shop, David Dangers, Balzac and Charlotte have sat at the tables of Parisian taverns. Paris reigns. Geniuses flash forth there. The red tails prosper there. Adonai passes on his chariot with its 12 wheels of thunder and lightning. Silenus makes his entry there on his ass. For Silenus, read Rampino. Paris is the synonym of cosmos. Paris is Athens, Sybaris, Jerusalem, Pantin. All civilizations are there in an abridged form, all barbarisms also. Paris would greatly regret it if it had not a guillotine. A little of the place to grieve is a good thing. What would all that eternal festival be without this seasoning? Our laws are wisely provided, and thanks to them, this blade drips on this Shrove Tuesday.